Hi, I'm Greg Howlett, and I want to talk just a few minutes today about chord substitutions. Now, I was at a class last week, and the teacher was talking about subs, chord subs, and he asked people to just throw out some of their favorites. And one person, by the way, who happened to have bought my course in the past, threw out my all-time favorite chord substitution, 2 for 5. And the teacher sort of was a little bit taken back and said, you know, normally we substitute a 2 for a 4. And he's right to an extent, and she's right to an extent. And I want to talk about that today. A 2 can substitute for either a 4 or it can substitute for a 5. Remember, I've actually said in the past, I've said this over and over again, any chord can substitute for any chord if two conditions are met. First of all, it has to work with the chords around it, and it also has to work with the melody note. But if you can make those two things happen, do whatever you want. Now, a 2 for a 4 is fine. It's perfectly acceptable. That's the way I was taught. I've never been in any hymn playing class or church music class where that wasn't taught. But the reality is, 2 for 5 is probably more natural. No offense to all my friends in church music, but 2 for 5 is probably more natural because 2 for 5 actually does more than just substitute. It's more than just a chord substitution. It's an improvement of harmony. And I want to explain why that is. Remember, I've said, and I've actually talked about this before, I've said that in a song, a typical hymn or church song, you're going to see tons of 5-1 progressions, right? You'll see a bar of 5 and a bar of 1. And 5-1 progressions are fine, but they're not great. And we can improve them. And one of the ways you improve those kind of progressions is you turn them into 2-5-1 progressions. Now, you're starting to see where I'm going. You have a bar of a 5 chord, you have a bar of a 1 chord. If you take the bar of the 5 chord and you divide it in 2 parts, you substitute a 2 chord for the first half of the bar, leave a 5 on the second half of the bar, and then leave the 1 intact, all of a sudden you have a 2-5-1 progression. That's why the 2-5 substitution is so important. It's more than just a sub. It's a way to make the harmony better. We demonstrated this a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, on the song Just As I Am, if you'll remember. Here it is right here. Normally you'd go to a 5 chord, but I'm going to go to a 2-5. There's your 2-5-1. Okay. That's an example. Let's keep going. If you looked in the hymnal, you'd go to 5 there. Let's go to 2-5 there instead. You hear the difference? A much, much better sound. By the way, here's an example of where I'm going to substitute a 2 for a 4. Let's do it again. Here's your 4. I'm substituting a 2 for the last half of that 4. Here's a 2 for a 5 again. Again, there's a 2 for a 4. 1, 1, 2, 5, 1. So in that last line, Just As I Am, I just substituted 2 for 4 and 2 for 5. Both work. Feel free to use both of them, but one works better than the other. I shouldn't say that it works better than the other. I would just say that one has a bigger purpose than the other. Substituting 2 for a 5 is often a way to improve the harmony of the song. Substituting 2 for a 4 usually doesn't do that, though it may in some cases, especially if you have a 4 chord followed by a 1 chord. If you go to 2, if you change the 4 to 4-2, you can lead 2 to 5 to 1. So I shouldn't say anything for sure, and I'm sure all these things can be very debated, but in general, using a 2 for a 5 is a substitution. That's a substitution that I'm going to do. As a matter of fact, I do it naturally without even thinking about it 10 times in a normal hymn. If I'm just playing it, every time I see a 5-1, instinctively I'm changing it to a 2-5-1 without ever thinking about it. Just because it's that important. It's a way to improve the harmony of the song. Play with that, and I think I have some more stuff on the website about that. As a matter of fact, I may have more video clips about it. But that is, if you're looking for one substitution, that's the one I would say to learn first. I'll see you next time.